And Mr. Kibble, you have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the panel for your service. And I commend your courage for coming here and helping us work towards a solution specifically in C-11. And I respect it's a very sensitive topic. So if you're uncomfortable to proceed with my questions, just please let me know. But I look forward to your answers. Ms. Smith, I appreciate you talked about accountability, and we've also heard from other people that have also said culture change is part of the solution. You said that you were in the U.S. military, correct?
Yes.
And have you served in the Canadian Forces?
No.
And are you familiar with the Canadian Forces justice system?
No, it's similar, but I've seen that there's less infrastructure for survivors than we have in the U.S.
Fair. Okay, so you do have some familiarity. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify as well, when we're using an acronyms, MP in your cases refers to military police and not members of Parliament, just as we're going forward. And I appreciate that there's lots of acronyms that are used. Ms. Vanderveer, you said that you've worked with numerous survivors.
That is correct.
And so in your work with them, have you felt that those survivors or in your own experience as well, that people would want a choice between either a civilian or a military prosecution? Or
Absolutely. That's what I've heard, that they would like a choice. But there is a concern with going to the civilian courts, which I have mentioned in my testimony, is how are these judges trained? Because so many of them don't understand the complexities of the military. And it's, very challenging, when they're trying to understand, well, why would somebody go off with another uniformed member? Why could you just not walk away? You obviously can't walk away if you're aboard a ship after being raped. So these are the things that, how do we get the civilian courts to understand these complexities while trying to solve these, bring justice to these cases?
Thank you. And all of the witnesses have stated cover-ups of information or suppression of information. Do you feel that C-11 should have specific regulations for the accountable transfer of evidence from military to civilian police?
Absolutely. And one of my concerns is that there would be such a delay, because, we've seen that within the military system, that things move glacial speed sometimes in handing over documents. And, the delays are, there's always delays. And so, yes, it needs to be handed over quickly and efficiently to prevent, people from just hanging in limbo.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And in your case, were you aware that, or maybe I'll open it for all the panel, that there was a choice between prosecuting these either through military or as civilian?
Well, for my particular case, I am a class action member. I had no choice at the time that I served. We were not given the choice to even report without retaliation. So I cannot speak on that.
Thank you. And Ms. McDonald, you wanted to address that?
So I reported, first I was mandatorily, I had to report in through the military system. Everything was dealt with by the military. But whenever the government opened it up to reporting into the civilian system, I moved into the civilian system. And I also used the civilian system because the chain of command was refusing to write down allegations because they wanted to mark everything as sexual harassment from the beginning. So I gave my allegations to the RCMP and then did a statement with them, and then I was then interviewed by again, I gave another statement to the Canadian Forces National Investigative Services.
Okay, thank you.
So the issue with it was that the civilian police also relied on evidence gathered by the CFNFIS that had to do with rape supportive attitudes regarding consent.
Right.
And civilian police need to be trained in terms of how to deal with that.
And I wanted to ask Ms. Vanderveer about that as well. You said that C-11 doesn't fix it, and you mentioned three things, including closure. But specifically on the legal aspect of it, what changes do you think would help fix it?
That's a challenging question.
But I respect your opinion, and because you've worked with so many survivors, you could probably provide us with some excellent insight.
I'm hoping I can. the hope is that, again, we can educate the civilian court systems on how to accept these survivors is the big thing. As to what that looks like, I really don't know, because I think back to, we're all aware of the Calgary judge who, had said to a sexual assault survivor to close your legs. So I do worry when I do hear those particular cases going into civilian courts. Are we going to have judges that are trained to deal with this? I'm sorry, what was the rest of it?
Thank you. I think I'm probably out of time, but I would like to add, you mentioned that some of you have some statements beyond what your opening statement was that you would wish to provide. And I'm sure that if you submit through the chair that he would accept those statements. Thank you very much for your honest answer.